All right, y'all. So to solve this problem here for x, we're going to need to know various properties of logarithms and use a little bit of algebra. So the first thing to see here, when we have ln of the square root of x, recall square root of x is equivalent to x to the power 1/2, right? However, if I rewrite this as ln of x to the 1/2 minus ln of 1 minus x equals 2, by the power rule for logarithms, this exponent here of 1/2 can go in front as a multiplier, right? So we would end up getting 1/2 times 2 natural log of x. So we see that we have 1/2 times 2 natural log of x minus the natural log of 1 minus x equals 2. Now the 1/2 and the 2 can cancel. And we have two logs subtracting each other. This is going to result in our quotient rule, right? Remember, when two logs subtract, the insides divide, right? So I have the natural log of x over 1 minus x equals 2. Now, if I want to solve for x here, I need to get rid of this natural log because it's in the way, right? So we're going to use our decoder ring. We're going to say e, because remember, with natural log, the base is e. So e to the power of 2 is equal to the inside of x over 1 minus x, right? So x over 1 minus x equals e squared. Now, in order for us to continue to solve this problem, we are going to need to multiply both sides by the denominator. Remember, guys, back when we were solving problems where we had fractions and variables, we always saw that we wanted to get rid of any variables from the bottom, right, from the denominator of those fractions. So I'm going to multiply both sides by 1 minus x. And that's going to cancel out here, right? So now we have x equals, let's distribute. So it equals e squared times 1 is e squared, minus e squared times x is e squared x. Now, whenever you guys solve an algebra problem, right, whenever we're solving for a variable, what we see is that we want to get all the x terms on one side. So I'm going to add e squared x to both sides. So now we would have x plus e squared x equals e squared. Okay, now here's where we need to do a little algebra, right? So guys, imagine I have a different scenario here. Let's write it off to the side in a different color. We'll write it in this crazy galaxy pen. Let's say I had 2x plus 3x. A lot of times people would just go straight up, that equals 5x, right? But really what's happening is that you're skipping a step. In reality, what's happening is that 2x plus 3x is equivalent to 2 plus 3 times x. See how what I've done is I've pulled the x out of both of them. I factored it essentially. And so then in the end, 2x plus 3x equals 5x because of this important little piece here. We're going to do the same thing over here. X is really 1x if we think about it. So 1x plus e squared x would be the equivalent of 1 plus e squared times x, right? Kind of like we did here. And that is equal to e squared still. Now that we have only one x term, right? We only have one x term here now. We can go ahead and divide the 1 plus e squared from both sides. Oops. That'll cancel out here. and we're left with x. We're left with x equals e squared divided by 1 plus e squared. So that is our final answer. Now, if you want, you could use a calculator to evaluate that as a decimal, but I'm going to go ahead and leave it like this.